Turbine Energy Project. Abstract. The purpose of the project was to learn to obtain electricity from wind and try to charge small devices through USB outputs with power obtained. This specific experiment was chosen to demonstrate how to obtain such energy through means of wind, and to be able to show individuals how to replicate the experiment. Whoever tries to do the experiment would need the proper materials, which roughly are the following: wind turbines, fans or other source of wind, anemometer, voltmeter, USB charger or LED lights to test electricity obtained. It requires following procedures to replicate the experiment and several tests as follows. Position the turbine in front of the fan so that the wind makes the blades turn and starts generating electricity. Start the fan at low level speed and test all level speeds. Measure the wind speed obtained by reading numbers in the anemometer, then record the data. Also read voltage obtained on the voltmeter and record data. Lastly, the conclusion was that the hypothesis was not supported because not enough energy was generated to charge small devices, only about 1.43 watts, enough to turn on a small LED light. Sadly, the desired motor parts for 24-volt motor proposed to build the wind turbine were unavailable, so a very small motor, 4 volts, was used. Turbine model was assembled, put to work and demonstrated how to produce energy with wind. The recommendation is to design more time to research and planning on how to acquire the best suitable parts, as a bigger motor and its parts, and produce more energy. Wind turbine energy initial project idea. The original idea or hypothesis for the design project was to make a small-scale model of a wind turbine capable of producing sufficient energy to be able to charge remote controls cars batteries that uses AA rechargeable batteries. On the right, you'll see a drawing of the initial idea. And on the far right, you'll see wind turbine typical configuration. Wind turbine energy project initial draft. Wind turbine energy variables and constants. In these experiments, independent variable is the wind velocity, measures in MPS, miles per second. This experiment, dependent variable, on the other hand, is the output power, amount of electricity obtained, which was measured in watts. The constants in this experiment were the following elements: 6 blades, wind turbine tower and turbine, standard electric outlet, fan, hair dryer, anemometer, voltmeter, and LED light. And on the right, you'll see the sources utilized for research. Wind turbine materials. You'll see on the top left corner the voltmeter. On the top right corner, you'll see the anemometer. On the bottom right corner, you'll see the USB charger, and on the bottom left corner, you'll see the fans. Turbine. Wind tower and base. 24-volt DC motor with wires and gears. 4-volt DC motor with wires and gears. Turbine hub rotor for blades. 6-5.5-inch blades. 3-14-inch blades. Constants, measurements, instruments. Wind turbine W dash tower and base, two 12-inch fans. Other wind source can be used. Anemometer digital LCD handheld airflow wind meter. DC converter with battery, clip USB, voltmeter, anemometer, power outlet. Wind turbine test 1. 1. Position your 3-blade turbine in front of fan so that the wind turns the blades and starts generating electricity. 2. Start the fan at speed level low. 3. Measure the voltage obtained by reading numbers in the voltmeter. 4. Measure wind speed with anemometer. 5. Record data. Test number 2. 1. Repeat all steps of test, but adjust the fan's speed to high. 5. Record data. Wind turbine test 3. 1. Replace the 3 blades on the turbine by 6 blades set. 2. Position your 6 blades turbine in front of fan so that the wind turns the blades and starts generating electricity. 3. Start the fans at speed level high. 4. Measure the voltage obtained by reading numbers in the voltmeter. 5. Measure the wind speed with anemometer. 6. Record data. Wind turbine test results. On the left, you'll see the test results of the 3-blade wind turbine. Although, in the right, you'll see the test results of the 6-blade wind turbine. Conclusion. In this experiment, the hypothesis was not supported, which was enough energy will be obtained to charge devices through USB outputs. There was energy obtained, but not enough to charge small devices. Only enough energy to power a small LED light, so that it was capable of turning on. This was mostly because the small devices required 5 to 25 volts, but the maximum amount of volts achieved was 1.43 volts. It was not supported due to the fact that certain materials did not arrive in time. An example was the motor used, 4 volts, instead of originally desired 24-volt motor. To be able to improve this experiment, there should be a change in the materials that were used to conduct it. With the parts that were originally planned as 24-volt motor, also the wind source that was used didn't generate enough to produce energy. Finally, experimental errors were failure to produce enough wind velocity, failure to receive certain parts, and failure to get the motor to charge small devices. These experiments benefits the scientific community, as the people who learns to replicate it will be able to produce energy with wind, which isn't harmful to the environment. The world will be able to learn to generate energy with wind and ditch such things as fossil fuels, which in case can stop global warming, assuming they reproduce the experiment with the correct parts. The important things that have been learned in this experiment are a certain amount of wind that can be obtained with a certain amount of wind velocity, how to reproduce energy that does not harm nor affect the environment, and how to obtain energy through means of wind. Lastly, the thing that should be tested should be using a higher source of wind combined with a higher potency motor to be able to generate more electricity, enough to charge a bigger device and hopefully replicate to eventually be able to power electricity in a regular household.